Yeah.
This is something Corey had the idea that he wanted to go back and look at all these drafts, and we don't want to look at the last 2 drafts yet because everyone
we're
always talks
looking
about
at
you got to give
everywhere
it
before
3 years, right?
2021. Yeah.
So everyone always says you got to give a draft 3 years. Well, let's go back to 2018 and get up to 2021 and take a look at these drafts and see who's still with us and what's become of some of these guys and where did maybe Brian make a misstep or maybe kind of outfox some people and get some great value and things of that nature. I think this is a fun exercise, Corey. It's a really good idea. Going back and starting at 2018, his first draft. And
I mean,
who
what's
did he
crazy
take?
about 2018 is like the only guy is his number 1 pick. Only guy left on the team. Number 1
Only
pick.
one remaining. Only one
Jair
remaining.
himself,
No doubt about
which, I would argue is probably one of our best draft picks in the last 5 years, arguably.
I
and
totally agree.
Still critically important to the team. And then, I don't know what you want to say about Jair besides that, but here's what's crazy. So Josh Jackson, bust. Oren Burks, bust. Oren Burks, by the way, was playing on Kansas City.
Played in the Super Bowl. Yep.
Yeah,
no,
played
I'm
in the Super
San
Bowl.
Francisco. San
Yep. Sorry, my bad. Jamon Moore. Wow, holy bust, Batman. Cole Madison.
Playing in the UFL now, I believe.
J.K.
Cole Madison
Scott.
never played it down.
The
Still punting in the league. The weapon
that
still
was.
punting for the Chargers. Punted in Lambeau this year.
MVS just won his second Super Bowl, so not a
Second
bad
Super
pick.
Bowl ring.
Just couldn't
pick.
keep
In the 5th
keep
round?
the guy on our team.
That's a good pick in the
5th round,
round.
and he's basically their second starter, right? He's their WR2, right? Pretty much.
Essentially, I mean, Rashid Rice really came on towards the end. I mean, obviously Kelsey is their number 1 target, but for Kansas City, he's done really good work, no doubt about it.
Then EQ is on the Lions, right?
The Browns. Oh, not the Browns. The Bears. Down in Chicago. Chicago.
EQ's on Chicago now. I thought he was on he was on Detroit. James Looney, whatever happened to that guy? Hunter Bradley
didn't make it out of camp.
Kendall,
but those are 7th round
Donnerson.
picks.
I don't remember Kendall Donnerson. I'm going to be honest.
None of these guys
completely forgot.
Like about him. These 7th round picks, you're throwing darts. Like it can't be. You can't hold on and go, oh my god, those are missed picks. It's like it's a 7th round pick. You're burning firewood right there. I will say before we go on, I love the fact that not only did Brian select Jair Alexander with his first ever draft pick, like the first selection he ever made, but he traded with the New Orleans Saints prior to that selection. He traded. Remember, they were at 14.
Yeah, he traded down from 14 to 27.
To 27 and got another pick thrown in, and then he traded up with the Seahawks to number 18, and that's where he selected Jair. Like the guy moved a little bit up and down the board and gathered up another 1st round pick in the process.
Which is how he got Darnell
sometimes
Savage,
people forget.
Basically.
Yeah, I think sometimes people forget that, but it's like, Jair was his first pick after maneuvering the draft board and getting another 1st round pick. That's pretty impressive. That's good work right there.
So 2018, not a lot to say. What did we get for MVS? We got a trade for him? We traded somebody?
Nothing. He left in free agency. They ended up getting a compensatory pick, but that's about it.
Gotcha. So a whole bunch of nothing. It's interesting that we weren't able to keep him, but it was more a cap. And
it's the cap thing. I mean, you got to remember 100% the Packers had, and I remember doing the video for it, wanted to keep him. They told him they 100% wanted him to be on the team, but he knew if he hit the market, he and his reps knew if he hit the market, he was going to get paid at least $10 million a year. And the Packers just didn't have that kind of space for a guy who was a complimentary piece at best, right? And look, he is getting paid $10+ million a year to make, 2 or 3 catches a game, essentially. Yeah. Now, every once in a while, there's a big kind of dagger deep shot at the end of the game that we've seen a couple times from Mahomes. Yeah. But for the most part, it's not like this monster contributor. It's just where the two teams were as far as what they had available cap-wise. Obviously, where the Packers are now, you don't hate it. But at the time,
no.
You really felt that pain Rodgers last year. That's where it hurt because, that's when you had to turn the page. No Devontae Adams. You got Dobbs and Watson, etc. Could have really used MVS that year. But I understand why they didn't kind of break that mold and try and like make a kind of exception in their salary cap for MVS. I'll always understand that.
So, I don't know what the normal is, but like, okay, he got EQ, MBS, and Oren Burks are still in the league, and everybody else is kind of no.
J.K. Scott still punting.
J.K.
I will
Scott's
say,
still
like,
in the league.
Yeah, like I just said, he's part for the punt for the Chargers. He was in Lambeau this year.
He sucks.
You forget, but
he sucks.
But here's the thing.
2019.
One thing to remember, because you just asked, like, what's the normal, right? Ron Wolf famously said, if you can bat 300 for your career as a general manager, as far as just finding long-term starters in the draft, 300, just finding 3 starters essentially in the draft for your entire career, you're probably going to, not only win a lot of games, but there's a good chance you're going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Because that's how hard it is. It's really difficult consistently finding long-term answers in the draft. Everyone wants to like rip apart Goody and the Packers, but it's like this is league-wide. This is how much of a crapshoot it ultimately is. And yes, some teams have good stretches where they find people. Good draft classes, which the Packers have kind of seemingly, hopefully found here as of late. But man, especially given the fact that the Packers have almost always been drafting later in the first round, the fact that they found as many kind of long-term starters and or contributors as they have, that's a pretty good feather in Goody's cap. No question about it.
So, given that, if it's 3, then I would say really MBS and Jair are the only 2 real starters. I mean, EQ is kind of a...
Agreed.
He's
a depth piece. Oren Burks is
and
literally a depth piece.
Punter doesn't count.
Punter is a punter.
Count that. 2019. All right, so 2018, thank you. We got Jair. Hopefully, he stays on the team next year, and we move forward.
He will. He's not going anywhere.
2019, and we got the originally controversial pick of Rashawn Gary, which a lot of Packer fans did not initially like, but has turned out to be
crazy, right?
Human wrecking ball. With I believe he had Rashawn had the highest amount of sacks. Did he have the highest amount of sacks this season for him? He had career sacks, I believe, this year.
Yeah, career numbers is sacks and
numbers.
Pressures. Absolutely. Yep. And that was coming back from an ACL.
And I would call him a top 10 edge defender in the NFL.
Agreed.
Right?
And he's paid as such. Yes.
And he played in more games than last year. A much better year this year for Rashawn. And I think that's a good pick. So that's an A. Then Darnell Savage. Darnell Savage this year came up. Last year was kind of not the year that was promised. Really it's been like a couple years now since he's really kind of done. A couple years, and then I would say the last 3 games of the Packers season this year, he really did come up.
I thought he was really good
down
he was good down the stretch this year until the 49ers game. It all fell apart for him in that game. He reverted to every bad habit and every kind of problematic thing that has kind of plagued him since Joe Barry came into town. Now, here's my one kind of, to your point, why they might keep him, right? Because he was on a bit of an upswing and seemed to be ascending when Pettine was the defensive coordinator. Certainly took a pretty significant dip all 3 years under Joe Barry. But maybe with a new scheme, new emphasis, a guy they know really well, maybe they do sign him to an extension at some point and keep him around, because God knows they're going to need help at the safety spot.
And then we got the double picks there, right? We got Darnell was the pick that was the Jair trade up and then down, or down and then up. Excuse me. Then,
and remember,
Elton
the Packers
Jenkins,
traded. The Packers traded to get to that pick. They traded with the Seahawks. That's where they got Savage at 21.
Picks number 30, 114, and 118. So there you go. So 30 was the one that they traded down and then up for, basically.
Yep.
So then round 2, Elton Jenkins. So Elton Jenkins,
let's
I
go.
will say this. Wendell Ferraro, who writes for us for Cheesehead TV, he has Elton Jenkins as in 2022 as his number 2 all-around Brian draft pick. And
I know, right?
This is from a couple years ago. But Elton Jenkins, I mean, pretty solid number 2 pick, all pro level player.
Yep.
You know, nothing but good things to say. So there you have like 3 starters on the current team in the first 3 picks of 2019. 2019 is looking good. And then we turn the corner to Jay Sternberger, and everything falls apart.
And then it all falls apart. Shout out Jace. We love you, Jace. We love you, Jace.
Kingsley Kiki is key. I wanted Kiki to be good so bad, just because I wanted to say Kiki all the time.
Yep.
What is he still in the NFL? No, right?
I don't think so. No.
Kadar Holman, who is in the NFL still, I believe.
I believe he's with the Texans still. He might not be though. After that, I'm not sure. I know that's where he ended up initially, but he might not still be there. I'm not entirely sure.
Dexter Williams, who got some play. He was with us for a couple years.
Notre Dame running back, yeah. And then they brought him back. Remember, they brought him back.
Yeah, that's right.
He had the green hair.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Ty
Brandy's
Summers.
favorite. Ty Summers,
the
you know what's so funny is like Ty was
Matthews.
fine. He was fine as like a special teamer, right? A guy you can count on to do what's asked of him on special teams. But I will always remember when he had to go in down in New Orleans. They lost, I think, both backers in that game, and Ty had to play significant minutes, and it was ugly. It was as ugly as you could possibly imagine, as probably you remember. It was like there were so many plays where he was just like, "What? Who? What? Kamara's got the ball? What?" Like, yeah, no, it was not great. But he's still in the league. He's still in the league.
Somebody said I looked at the chat. Unfortunately, somebody said my Brock Purdy take was moronic. And here's the thing: if Jordan Love was playing on the 49ers during the Super Bowl, they would have won. So Brock Purdy sucks.
This is true.
That's my logic.
This is true.
Okay.
I don't know about the last part, but the first part is true.
Would a better quarterback have won the 49ers that game because they would have made better throws? Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yes. So you can say my take is moronic. Go start your own show, and then I will get on the chat, and I will tell you you're a moron. All right, here we go. 2020. 2020.
All right.
The most controversial draft of Brian's career up until this year.
Up until this year,
like how controversial.
I'd say week 11 of this year, no doubt.
So we had pick number 30 and number 136. Yep. We give it to the Dolphins to get 26. And who do we take?
Yep.
One Jordan Love. I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna give that an A. I'm gonna give that a.
I'm gonna give
that
a W. I don't know about grading, but I'm gonna give it a W.
It takes a lot of balls. Yep. You have to really know what you're doing. You have to really have solid strategy, not tactics. And I'm always loving when a Packers GM takes a quarterback, and I actually think we should take more quarterbacks, to be honest with you, because it's never a bad idea to have quarterbacks in your back pocket.
Totally agree.
So then another controversial pick to a lot of people, especially PFF, A.J. Dillon in round 2.
Okay, can I say something that's a bit maybe a bit controversial? Now, PFF didn't have him on the board at all as a draftable player, which, yes, is fucking insane, right? We all know how talented AJ is. We've seen his work, blah, 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 blah. But I will say, all the nerds and all the analytics folks and everybody talking about, oh, that's way too early to draft a running back, I think they were kind of right. I don't want to tell tales out of school, but I think they were kind of right. That's all I want to say.
Why? Why do you say that?
Because the value is just exponentially higher for almost, not every, but almost any other position. And I understand the idea of A.J. Dillon being someone that the Packers really liked. They tracked him throughout his entire collegiate career. But, man, as far as positional value, pick 62 overall, that's a top 100 pick on a running back who was going to be a timeshare to begin with. I don't know, man. Feels a little rich. I hear that. I mean,
I don't understand why running backs are so undervalued. I would say that Aaron Jones, and I get it on the draft, right? These are two different things I'm saying,
Right,
by
right.
the way. I'm
I
actually,
get you. I get what you're saying.
I'm actually conflating something right now, but I mean like, so on the one side, I would say that Aaron Jones is probably the second most valuable person on our roster.
And they got him in the 5th round. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just, and look,
that's not normal.
It's never. It is a
is
crapshoot. Maybe not normal, but you can find real great players.
I mean, we got
the
Donald Driver in the 7th
on day
round.
3.
That's not normal.
I know, but that's a major outlier. It's Tom Brady in the 6th, total outlier. Blah blah blah. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, don't worry about it. You can do that on day 3. I'm not saying that, but I am saying, positional value wise, I understand where the nerds are coming from. I kind of get it.
I'm gonna give that pick we'll give that pick a C. I mean, I know we're not grading right now. We're just talking through it. So
right.
Then we go down
you
the list.
Grade to your
okay,
heart's
so
content. You do whatever you want.
We got
it's
a big
show.
win. Well, now I believe you can grade now because it's been 3 years, so I'm okay with it. So
that's
then
a very
we got
good point.
The biggest bust of the round. Well, the second biggest bust of the round.
Jesus!
Josiah DeGuara still on our team. I don't know why. Let's get rid of him. Cut him.
Probably not for long. Oh,
he sucks.
Yeah, that's
he doesn't suck, but he's not good. He's just not a good blocker. Just
I
the
love
fact
that your
Kraft
whole
and
analysis comes down to he sucks.
This is the thing. Like, Tucker Kraft and Musgrave became better blockers right before our eyes.
Overnight,
it's like Josiah DeGuara. Like, it took Josiah DeGuara 3 years
and never
to not
reach
be
the
good.
level that either one of those guys did. That is kind of insane. The fact that they took DeGuara with pick 94, a top 100 pick, and this dude can't block to save his fucking life. And that's all they ask him to do. It's not like he's out here running routes or trying to work downfield. Like, Josiah, go across the formation and take out this defensive end. Okay, I'll try. And then he rarely does it, right? Like, 4 years and he can't do that at a high level. Tucker Kraft looked terrible at it last summer. By the end,
then he looked good.
Playoffs, he looks like a fucking baller. He looks like Gronkowski out there. Like, oh, Josiah. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough pick. That is a tough
Then we
pick.
got Kamal Martin with pick 5 for round 5.
Man, I will always say, Kamal would have been a player if his knee hadn't gotten re-injured. Like, he was, I know they took a flyer on him even with the injury concerns coming out of Minnesota. I really liked him as a player. I remember in training camp, he looked the part, and then he got hurt again, and then it was all over. But I like that pick.
Well, and to be fair, to be somewhat fair to DeGuara too, it's like he had a serious rookie injury, which kind of set his whole NFL career.
Yeah, that's fine. So. It's been 4 years. Okay, all right. Totally. It's been enough time at this point.
Then we got the Packers fans' favorite offensive lineman, one John Runyon.
Hey, I tell you what, 6th round, pick 192, you get basically starter level play for 4 years. They're probably going to let him walk. That's a good pick. You talk about value. That's a good pick right there. No doubt about it. 6th rounder who starts for you for multiple years. In my opinion, it's a good pick.
It would be better if they want to keep him, though. It'd be better if, like,
well,
hey,
of course,
we can't let this guy
naturally,
go. You know what I mean?
Of course, but they made a better pick later on in round 3. A couple years later, who's going to probably be the guy who takes his job, and that's fine. I have no problem. You invest in a 3rd rounder who's going to eventually supplant the 6th rounder. I got no problem with that.
To be honest, I feel like in that draft, in the 2020 draft, we really we tried, and Jake Hansen is our next contestant.
Oh boy!
Here we did try for a center, but you almost feel like Goody should have tried to find some center at value in 2020. In 2020,
yeah, maybe
it's kind of a little bit sad that we didn't get a good center out of that draft. We needed it, and he knew we needed it. You know, so it was like it definitely was a need.
Yeah.
Then we got Simon Stepaniak. No idea if he's still playing in the NFL. Vernon Scott.
Sir. He got hurt early.
Safety.
Vernon Scott, man, he was like on the fringes of the roster forever. But yeah, no, not a hit.
Jonathan Garvin. So we got.
Who
I'm not
was
counting
on the roster,
Josiah DeGuara as a starter, but we did get 3
No,
starters out of that
not a
draft
starter.
because we
Got
got
3 starters,
Runyon,
no
AJ
doubt.
Dillon, and Jordan Love. But we had to wait on Jordan. So,
And which is fine, by the way. Also, 100 billion%, Jordan Love makes this draft an A+ if he continues on the trajectory we saw at the end of this year. Like it does, like all the
100%.
rest of it is absolute gravy, total gravy. And the
100%.
fact that Brian traded up to get it, like gravy.
Somebody said I heard Ty Summers was mentioned and needed to check on Brandy. That's funny. All right, so here we go. That was
favorite player.
So that's everybody before, which it's kind of crazy. Like what I like about talking about this stuff is like, okay, look, with Jair Alexander, Rashawn Gary, Darnell Savage, Elton Jenkins, then Jordan Love, AJ Dillon, Josiah DeGuara, and John Runyon. That's 8 players in 3 drafts that still are playing on the Green Bay Packers, 2 to 3 of which probably will get released to pending.
Probably will be allowed to leave.
That gives us, so that gives us, and that's crazy. It's just something to think about when we're, I know we know this every year because we're like, whatever happened to, but I do think it's interesting to kind of take a look back and be like, okay, well, how did we fare? So here we go, 2021.
Right.
Trade 1, Packers trade picks number 92 and 135 for Titans pick 85, where we got one Amari Rodgers. Before that, so first,
that's the one
the
trade they made.
Yeah, that's the trade. Unfortunately, the 2021 draft started us with one Eric Stokes, who the jury's still out, right? I think we're going to see another year of Eric on our team.
It's hard. It's hard with Stokes because you just don't know because of the injuries. The fact that he's missed so much time and then finally got back and then got hurt again and missed so much time and then got back and then was shut down. There's no way to have a real kind of bead on where Stokes is as far as his development, what he could possibly do for this team. Could he be an outside corner in this defense? I mean, I don't know. At this point, he's a big
it's really
mystery.
sad because he had a really good rookie year.
He looked so good his rookie year. The fact that Jair got hurt, which allowed him to play as much as he did, and you got to think that was not the plan, right? Like there was no way they went into that season,
yeah, no way,
his rookie season, saying, "Oh, we're going to play this rookie all these snaps on the perimeter." That was not the plan, but he was thrown in the fire, and he looked really good. But then you go to his second year, man, it does not look good. That first kind of part of week 1 through 8, and then he gets hurt week 9 in Detroit, and it's all been a mystery since then. So yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with some of the
there.
sentiment. I feel like they're probably going to be on the. I don't know what the salary cap ramifications are, but I feel like he's not going to make the roster, just because there's something that we talked about at Patreon.
I'd be
Happy
surprised. No, he'll make the roster. I'll be shocked if he doesn't make the roster. I mean, the injury shit notwithstanding, right? Like if there's some unknown medical thing going on, that
I just feel like there's something
the upside's
this season. No, I hear that, but there's something we learned this season that I hope that the Packers can continue to somehow traditionalize or processize as part of their organization, and that is an in-pro personnel. Look at the play of our wide receivers and our young players. I think if we really do a self-scout of, how the coaches were forced to use young guys, is there some way to institutionalize that and really focus on that?
Yes.
So that
rather than trotting out the fucking Dean Lowrys of the world because they've got experience over the Devontae Wyatts of the world. Like, look, I understand if you're an old head coach and you're like, you got to earn it, whatever. But if there's obvious athletic upside, get that guy on the field over this shop-worn vet who, you trust as a coach. God, Corey, I could not agree with that more. 100%.
I don't know how you do it because you have to force your coaches to do it. It's like Brian can't really force the coaches to play the guys, right? He just has to give them the guys, and then they got to do it.
We're back to the triangle. We're back to the
coaching staff. The coaching staff just got to take more risks with their young players. I feel like, and I feel like Matt had to learn that this year, definitely. Then we got round 2. A pick that I would have said
Your
is
boy.
pretty much a bust
Your boy.
up until halfway into the season. He definitely played somewhat lights out after having a pretty atrocious first half of the season this season.
Yep.
For where he
Yep.
needed to be, he really came on. That's Josh Myers, and I think we found I think we found our starting center. I think him and Jordan found a way to figure stuff out. And
I tell you
know,
what, what's interesting to me is he did absolutely improve, right? You never found the consistency you want, but you definitely saw higher levels of play at points. But man, there's a dip in December after it looked like he had kind of figured it out. There's a dip starting with the Bucks game, like that stretch, like that kind of end of the season stretch where all of a sudden it all kind of fell apart for him again. And then the Bears game, the Cowboys game, and even the 49ers game, he played pretty damn well. So it's like, it's just, if they can find consistency with him, they've really got something long term. I think, to your point, I believe they think that's their kind of long term starter at center. But we'll see, man. If he has another kind of up and down year, maybe they start looking.
Watch Brian draft a center this year.
Draft a center,
no
yeah,
matter what.
Exactly. I mean, get ready for the future. Well,
Amari Rogers, I believe he's still playing in the NFL.
Boy.
He's playing for Dallas, right?
No, he's not. No, he went to the Texans and got released, and I don't think he's with a team right now. This is probably Brian's worst move. Trading up for Amari Rogers was probably, I mean, you know, it's hard to say definitively, but that's probably his worst draft move. I mean, it's exacerbated by the fact that Aaron Rodgers forced the trade for Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb comes in and basically does all the stuff you drafted Amari Rodgers to do from scrimmage, so he never gets the time.
They also put him in punt returns, which is the wrong thing.
Oh, which was
they
a
forced
disaster.
him to do that.
Disaster.
That trashed him.
Yep.
That was
disaster.
I don't know about that. I feel like, who's our field goal kicker? I've totally blanked on his name because I've basically
Carlson.
He's dead to me.
Anders Carlson.
Yeah, Carlson. Okay, so pretty much to me, Anders Carlson is the worst pick, and Brian's worst pick. J.K. Scott is the second worst pick. It's a toss-up between them because, like, drafting a punter, I just want to hit you in the face when you draft a punter. I just want to, I turn violent, and like, it's just not good. But then, I hear you. Amari Rogers, that'd probably be number 3 for me.
That's a tough one.
Then we go down and we've got Royce Newman, everybody's favorite offensive lineman.
My God,
my Lord.
Royce Newman. The fact that he's like been trotted out as a viable idea as far as the Packers and a starter and just playing NFL snaps is just fucking insane to me. It's insane to me. Go back and watch that first game against Detroit and enjoy the fruits of Royce Newman's labor. That's all I can say. And also, shout out to the Weird Kids. Thanks for joining the Care of the G Club. Appreciate you, buddy.
Then we got T.J. Slayton, which I feel like Slayton's,
good pick.
You know, he's
good pick
above a
for
body,
a 5th rounder.
above a body. Yeah.
Yes, totally agree.
And then Shamar Jean Charles. And then every 5 years you've got to take somebody from Wisconsin because I don't know why. I have no idea why. But
hey,
this is what the Packers do.
Wait.
Let's take a bust from Wisconsin so that they can be shitty,
the fact
and then
that
we can get rid of them.
Brian Gutekunst got a draft pick for him is still pretty amazing. Yeah. Come on now.
Yeah, I'll take it. And then, hey, here's some bargain basement of this draft. Isaiah McDuffie, who came on strong this year.
Yes, sir.
I felt like, especially when he was given a chance to play late in the season, he performed. And so that's a pretty good pick there at round 6. And then Kylan Hill rounding it out, who I believe is still in our practice squad. Yes?
No, he's long gone. He got cut because of his attitude. Lots of stuff going on behind the scenes. Bad dude.
Wilson took his spot.
Believe so. This year, yeah. This year, definitely.
And there we are. So, let's look at, so we got Jair, right? I know I've counted this like 4 times, but Rashawn, Darnell, Elton. So that's 4 starters, 2018, 2019.
Right.
Then we got Jordan, AJ, Josiah. I want to throw him off, so that doesn't count. So that's 7. Runyon is 8. Stokes is 9.
Right.
Myers is 10. Royce Newman, who I do not think is long for this team. I'm not counting him at 11. And then 11 we'll have
Mhm.
TJ Slayton, and 12 Isaiah McDuffie. So that's 12 players who are still
Contributors,
playing on our
right?
team, contributors to our
Yep.
team, mostly starters out of 3
Mhm.
drafts. So, pretty good. I think what we're going
You're
to
doing all right.
see is
League
I think
average.
what we're going to see is 2020, 2018, 2019 weren't great drafts for us. But 2020 was a pretty good draft, and then we're going to see 2021 and potentially 2022 kind of really show the genius
Well,
of Brian.
you and I will reconvene later this offseason prior to the draft to talk about the 2022 and 2023 drafts, because that's where I think Brian has laid the foundation for a championship level squad. Now, who knows if they go on a run and actually win it? I don't know. But, both Rom Wolf and Ted Thompson had draft classes that solidified pretty much their core, right? That became the core of their program that went on to win a Super Bowl. I think Brian's done that these last couple of years, but we're not looking at that tonight. We're just looking at everything up to 2021.